up exactly 100%. And that has happened, I can't remember exactly how many times he said, but in every instance, the next 12 months, we're up 100%. So that's interesting. And then the last thing that I was going to talk about, but I forgot, and we'll come back to it.
Right. I mean, so now we're at over again this meaningful trillion market cap number, which, listen, it's just a number, but it's nice to be back. And we really haven't spent much time above 50,000 in the history of Bitcoin. I think it's 190 total days, something like that. I mean, I think we're 20% off the highest weekly close, and the halving hasn't happened yet. We are way ahead of where we should be if you were just looking at the 4-year cycle, and it's because of the ETF. Right.
Well,
I mean, those inflows are pretty transparent.
I disagree. I disagree. I think we are exactly on schedule. And I've actually been talking about this for a while. I mean, you and I talked about this 9 months ago, 9 or 10 months ago. It doesn't matter. But and I'm talking about it every Friday on my on the Margin Show for over a year, that the 4-year cycle exists because of the halving, right? Halving embeds this natural proclivity for price to rise. Otherwise, the miners, who are integral to the success of the protocol, public or liquid venture capital, pre-seed stage, not even seed stage, pre-seed stage venture capital. The loss ratio on pre-seed stage venture capital is in the high 90s, 97, 98, 99. So the vast majority of those projects are going to zero. Now, that doesn't mean they don't go up first, but the vast majority of them will go to zero. And if you're rifle shooting in those projects, find a different occupation, because if you scattershot, a shotgun blast, okay, build a portfolio, position size right, take some profits. That's fine. But yeah, if you're betting it all on one number, yes, somebody will win, and we'll have to hear incessantly about them winning. But the average person loses.
There's a couple topics here I want to get your thoughts on. One is this: gold ETFs bleed 2.4 billion so far in 2024 as Bitcoin ETFs hit record volumes. I have obviously this tracker. We now have market cap of BlackRock 5.73 billion. I think objectively that's a lot higher than people expected a month in. Fidelity 4.
Right? And disruptive ideas. I mean, Galileo wasn't really well liked when he kind of said the world doesn't, or the universe doesn't revolve around the world. He wasn't well liked. And he suffered for his sins, so to speak. But every disruptive idea or every disruptive technology has been resisted by those with the most to lose. And that's logical, right? I always use the favorite example of the red flag law. Everyone heard the term red flag, and we use it for different things. But where it came from is when the unions who scooped the poop of the horses and saddled the horses and made the whips didn't like the horseless carriage, so they lobbied, fancy word for corruption, paid New York City to pass a law called the red flag law that said if you had a horseless carriage, you had to hire a human to walk in front of it with a red flag. Now, has anyone ever seen a person walking in front of a car with a red flag? No, because that was a dumb idea, but it actually was a law that got passed. And inevitably, disruptive technologies that are good, not all disruptive technologies are good, but disruptive technologies that are good catch on. And this is a technology, the base layer of money, the digital base, awesome. And I will now tweet my massive support.
Yeah, go check it out. Eleanor Terrett kind of broke it. I reached out to John and he said, "Can't say anything yet, but I'll need your help," which to me means very seriously considering a run against Elizabeth Warren. I know that's an extreme long shot, coming from here. She's as powerful as it gets, but man, if you have an opportunity to support someone that you believe in going against the literal singular face of the enemy, I think that you gotta take that shot.
Of course. And look, I applaud those in the community. I mean, Bruce made a run, and others have made runs. And, Brock actually tried to make a run.
He tried to run for president.
So, I mean, look, and I applaud people who try to go with the enemy. The good news, though, in this case is while that would be amazing to have a legitimate, intelligent. I shouldn't say she's not.
She's very
probably,
smart.
She probably is very smart. She probably is. She just says dumb stuff to be provocative and to create FUD. So she probably is smart, but she is, like so many, completely corrupted. And it makes sense, right? I mean, the challenge is to run for, like, well, okay, so let's pull that thread. Let's say BlackRock et al., the plan is to get the boomers to put their money in this thing, and then we're going to steal it from them. Those are the voters that put those people in. So I don't think you would want to steal their stuff, but okay. Let's say, because they're not stealing the stuff from the degens and the people who have it on their ledger. They're stealing it from the boomers who are putting the boomer wrapper. But okay, let's say they did that. What happens? Well, let's say they had a third of it. Let's say they get a third of the Bitcoin. So a third of the Bitcoin disappears. The other 2/3 goes up in value.
Yeah.
That's a bad plan. So unless somehow you can get all of it, and here's the other reason I don't fear this, because when I first got into this back in 2013, and I was talking to Dan Moorhead, and he was trying to convince me, and I make the joke, but it's not a joke. I was not running drugs on Silk Road. I was not a cryptography student. The first time he said the word Bitcoin to me, I was like, I don't really understand. I mean, tell me more. And he's like, well, it's infrastructure.
If you have an emotional hatred for Bitcoin, it mathematically improves your portfolio. Period. This is the argument.
And it's period, end of story. And look, I am fine if you want to say that, and I love Brian. Brian is a good friend, and I love the man, and one of the most inspirational people I know. But I'm fine if you want to say, well, his numbers are wrong. Like, what do you mean? He's using the 15 years, and the first 5 years of the data are bogus. Take them out.
I take them out. It doesn't change.
The numbers do go down a little bit, but not very much. Even the last 10 years, and the last 10 years are purely legit. Starting 10 years ago, you could put institutional size capital to work. The first 5 years, no. The first 5 years, it was went over from 0.003 cents to $1. Fine, that doesn't count. I'm okay with that. But from kind of multiple hundred to today, all of that counts. And the people are upset. Well, the volatility is going down. We're going to charge low fees, but on a huge amount of money. And we're going to scare people into thinking that you shouldn't do anything novel or interesting, just passive. It's just passive. And here's the thing. If that were such a great system, then the average person wouldn't have sub $100,000 in their 401k and have no ability to retire, right? If it was such a great system, right, they wouldn't allow you, if you're under 65 years of age, to have fixed income in your 401k, right? That should literally be against the law.
I was just going to say, they don't even recommend gold. Like an RIA literally is just 60-40, stocks and bonds. They don't even go as far as to say you should diversify beyond those assets to hard assets of any sort. So,
and look, every sophisticated pool of money in the world, everyone, right? Endowments, foundations, sovereign wealth funds, pensions that are run by intelligent human beings, has a diversified portfolio that integrates these macro assets, hard assets, other assets into the portfolio to improve the Sharpe ratio, the return per unit of risk. And now look, the flip side of that is, if you're not in the get rich business, if you're not in the stay rich business, right, then it's okay to be concentrated.